If you use first ascension, you're wrong. Moving on. Ibuki-Douji is one of my favorite characters to use. If I have to, okay, first take these out. I don't know why I keep putting those in for recording. It doesn't help. It's weird. Like you just hear, your ears are literally plugged up. Okay, so Ibuki is literally one of my favorite characters. I love using them in buster farming. Really, really good. Like first video I like made of her, I think I had like 1 million on a buster crit, or either that it was the MP. And I was super excited for that. Little did I know that was only the start of what buster farming can do, because I did not have Oberon at the time. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I didn't have Oberon, and I was doing double vid chatless, and I thought the damage was like, wow. But I also don't think I had Castoria at the time, so I didn't have double Castoria with Black Grail and seeing that shit with Oberon. But we are not talking about other units. We were talking about Ibuki-Douji, and my god, is this not top tier art? At least from my point of view. I kind of like the fact that her boobs are literally bigger than my head. That comforts me. Base attack really high. Like this, for a Saber to have this high attack, I think Ibuki has the highest attack of all Sabers. I can pretty confidently say she's like either top 5 or like the highest attack Saber, which I mean it's pretty good, but Sabers don't have a multiplier on this, so like other servants would beat her out, but that's fine, don't worry about it. HP still not that low, and she's also pretty tanky to begin with, honestly. She has a lot of tank without even trying. Star weight, star gen Saber numbers, MP charge 0.78 with 1 arts card and rocking a full gorilla deck. She red till you're dead. I was just talking about Super Ryan, same fucking shit. Red till it's dead. Now, granted, you need to be careful and not burn all your attacks at once, but you still get to rely on the buster crits. You definitely still get to rely on the buster crits. And 4 hits on quick, good. It's like, it's not going to be amazing quick card. It is still better than a lot of other Sabers. Like most Sabers still only have 2 hits on the quick cards. But that, again, that's year 1 design, not the more modern servants. If you crit on this arts card, it's going to do really, really well. Like, you might be able to save a battery. I think the refund on this can be up to like 50%, depending on what buffs you have up. Triple buster, good for damage and 5 hit extra attack with decent base stats. Like as a like knight class servant that's not, or as one of the 7 knights that is not an assassin, Sergeant's never going to be amazing. Most of what you have to base your extra attack is on refund, and this should refund a pretty good amount. It's been a while since I used Ibuki, but I always remember her refund never being an issue when it's not like buster farming. First skill is a pain point for a lot of people. I don't really think so. If you're buster farming, this is fucking ridiculous, because you are double stacking a 40% attack buff. Ignore the fact that it says 3 times 3 turns, because if you're farming, you're not gonna need more than that. You shouldn't. And if you do, well, hey, that's what bitch is for. Why you double pop this shit. It makes it very, very hard for them to buff this skill as well, because it's coming with a 50% battery. Is this what I would have done? No. It is nice that she has a 50% battery. It is nice she's getting this much attack. These are not 2 effects I would want together, but it's fine for farming purposes and for boss fights. You might have like other buffs, like if you have I know there's like a mystic, like 50% that is like all attack. I'm not saying to use that in, or like it's all attack and it gives an attack buff. That's what I mean. can't remember what CE that was. But yeah, I would prefer like batteries not being tied to damage steroids, but at least this is not like a mana burst, like a ratio. Like that's what this could have been. This could have been tied to a mana burst, and I'm actually happy. Oh no, actually I would have been happy for it to be tied to the mana burst, because Ibuki does not have a full mana burst. So you give it 30% for 3 turns. I mean, like you're going from 3 turns to like the full 3 turns. She's rocking triple buster. She's a buster MP. I would value this more than the attack buff, honestly. The attack buff is more, holy shit, big fucking PP damage for a little bit, while this is like consistent. 30% defense, again, nothing to scoff at. This makes her more tanky. She gets defense and damage cut. We'll get to that in a second. And she also gets a 20-star bomb. She's in the buster system, the modern buster system. Granted, right now she's not buster farming because, again, we're talking about an NA rate up. But I can't separate how Ibuki performs on NA from how she performs on JP. That is not fair. It is not fair to like talk about Buster Servants a month before Vitch, like Vitch doesn't exist. That's what everyone knows, she's coming. Oh, yeah. Everyone knows, or most people should. If you follow anything about JP, you know who Vitch is. Like literally, you can't go to YouTubers about FGO without knowing who Poison Sky is. Third skill, MP Seal. Crit damage, power mod against undead enemies. This 50% crit damage for 3 turns, nice. Skill seal for 1 enemy, or not skill seal, MP seal for 1 enemy. Good. This part is contentious, but not unrealistic to get because of Summeru Zetian. And granted, this is better on Ibuki. It's better to use Buzetian for support on the undead part, like in a, not like obviously not in farming, but in like a challenge quest, like putting in the undead. Like she shows is 1 turn, this is still 3 turns, and like it will match Buzetian's buff time. So again, not super realistic, applicable, but it's there. For me, as long as it's possible for a servant to exploit their niche, I don't really care how much, like how often it's going to happen. The fact that it can happen means you can plan around it. It's like you know there is another path around the mountain, but it's either, depending on what day it is, it might be more challenging or like 2 times faster than what the path you're on. But really depends on you. This will come up more in farming, just like killing trash mobs. But like if you are like actually buster farming, you shouldn't need this to kill mobs. Like unless you're literally doing this against archers. Passive skills, magic resist 20%, riding 9% quick, dragonkind EX 12% buster with 200 damage cut. That's what I was talking about earlier. 250 damage. It's divinity, but it comes with buff removal resistance by 20%. Good resistance to getting her buffs stripped away. This really is a toss-up. I chose extra attack on my Ibukis. Should I have picked the mana loading? In Lottos, it would have been wiser because then you can start with a non-MLB and still start your farming, especially for Buster. That is huge. That you can start and you don't need Oberon for that, because Oberon, like if a servant has a 50 and you have a MLB, like a non-MLB like 50%, like you can put Oberon in the front instead of 2 bitches and then pretty like 30% need Oberon's third skill in wave 3. 50s don't. As long as the 50% is 50, like you're not, it's not like level 9 and 46%. You just need like 50 maxed out, and you don't need to worry about a pen, and you can put Oberon in front. Or you can unlock mana loading. For more DPS servants, extra attack is just more useful. Like mana loading again happens at the start, and that's it. If you're using a 50% CE, this literally doesn't even matter. It's never going to matter. It only matters if you're using a 30, or you're using someone with a 30% battery. It's a ruler, cool, but you're not bringing Ibuki to fight a ruler. It's more if a ruler is in a node, Ibuki does more damage to it, but she's already doing less damage. Bridges the gap, doesn't fix it. NP, AoE 4-hit Buster NP, ignores invincibility 1 turn, activates first. Awesome. It would really fucking suck if this did not activate first. But it does mean all your face cards, all your Buster crits are bypassing invincibility, whether it is removable or not. Amazing. Ignores defense. Nice. It always works. If you have like buff block, this won't go through, but this will always pierce defense. Doesn't really matter that often, but it works. Here's the one part everyone hates about her MP. Like literally, if they buff her MP and just make this activate first, holy shit, is her damage gonna go like through the fucking roof. Like I'm really not joking about this, how big of a thing that would be for her. Where are you, Ibuki? Yeah, they're not gonna do that though. You want to know why they're not gonna do that? When a servant gets an upgraded MP, their MP1 becomes what MP2 is now. As you can see here, Ibuki's MP2 literally hits harder than everything else in this category. And that's not even counting if she puts on the Buster res down. It also has a niche. It's not as high as Mordred's, but it's not as applicable. It's, I don't know, what's more applicable? Arthur or Undead? Like, it's not gonna, this is not gonna show up in the last node. Like, most end bosses for a node are not undead unless you make them undead. Arthur is, you do see those at the end of nodes a lot. But what I'm trying to say is that if they buff Ibuki's MP, if they make Buster Res down, activate first, she is jumping to the top of this chart easily. Like, probably going to put out I want to say like 45,000. This is 37. And doing it off everything in her own kit. Another it's 20%, right? Like, they literally don't have to add any more effects. Just make this activate first. Like, I know I harp at year 1 for like not having interesting MP buffs, but that's when the MPs were literal dog shit. They were literally 3 hits, and like overcharge was like 10% attack down, activates after damage, of course, and that was the MP. They buffed it and made it do more damage. That's not buffing an MP. Making this activate first is an actual MP buff. Yeah, I think if they actually do that, Ibuki is gonna easily jumps to the top. Do I think they're gonna buff her MP before they buff anything else? I actually kind of do. This is literally the weakest part of her kit. As long as you're not a dumbass and burn this like super easily, like you start base guarding before you MP, which don't do. If you do that, your damage for farming is so scuffed, it's not even funny. It's fine to have cards in reserve just in case you don't kill, but make sure you're not doing a full brave chain, otherwise you're not carrying any of the attack buff to wave 3. At least like, especially don't no, you're popping this turn 1, and unless you're using Atlas, there's different ways to farm with Ibuki. And we'll actually bring up the numbers. I just remembered I didn't do that. Super soap damage, not super impressive. Bunyan CE, little more, but for farming, Ibuki is now the Ishtar. Yeah, like that is what I can compare this to. Ibuki is now the Ishtar of these buster farming saviors. She is the only one here that has a 50% battery. Only one. She is not able to use Black Grail like Mordred, like Artoria. Her Bunyan CE damage isn't that high. It's not amazing. She is actually the lowest hitting AoE Buster Saber for farming. Do I think she needs a buff? If I'm saying Ishtar needs a buff, like she needs to be able to do something, like I have to say the same for Ibuki. But my solution to Ishtar is like let her touch Black Grail. I don't know how they could actually do that with Ibuki. None of her skills are. Yeah, none of her skills would actually play into that unless they gave her another 10% somewhere. Now, would that change with class score? Possibly. But we don't know half of that. One last thing I want to start doing is talking about skills, appends. The main thing you're worried about is bones and lanterns, like dragons. Yes, for me it took a while, but the longer you play this game, the less this is an issue for you. You might even have a stockpile. Appends, same thing. Like as bones, you need fangs. Everything else I feel is way more common on this side. So I feel like getting your Ibuki leveled on the pen side is going to be easier than skills. Bond CE, Buster performance by 20% for all parties with Divine. Normally these Bond CEs are 10% and some other effect, so 20% and requiring a Divine trait, which isn't even that uncommon, I think is fair. Should you be summoning for Ibuki? No, but she is a buster farmer, but you'd probably be using Morgan than Ibuki, if I'm being honest, just because Morgan's a berserker with 50%. Ibuki, like, what Ibuki does, she does extremely well. Morgan's main synergy with Fitch is the fact that she's double stacking her man attribute trait. That's where Morgan sees a lot of her damage. She is only double stacking, from what I remember, the attack buff. That's it. Most of Morgan, oh my god, why am I flubbing lines? I'm leaving this in, by the way, chat. Morgan is only double stacking her attack buff in terms of like actually upping her damage. Ibuki's double stacking a 40% attack buff and a 30% buster buff along with all the other shit. I think Ibuki is really good and she is one of my favorites. I love both Saber and Berserker. They're both interesting characters. Their boobs are awesome. And yeah, definitely not biased review. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, comment, sub,
all that good YouTube stuff. I'm putting this at the end of the video because I'm really bad about selling out mid-video. So, thank you for watching.